there's a phenomenon that they notice in science um, called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. We live in an interesting time, a time where if you're not careful, the barrage of media and barrage of constant messaging can start to mess with your hope. If you watch MSNBC, Fox, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, Good Morning America, Today, Good Afternoon, TMZ. You're looking at your feed on X. You're looking at Instagram. You're watching Facebook. You get this constant barrage of stuff. The president just did this. Oh, they just did this. Oh, we ain't gonna be able to afford eggs, cars, carrots. We can't drink whiskey. I mean, it's wine. This constant barrage. If you think about it, there's a constant barrage of information that's always coming at you, and our phones have given the world complete access. Our phones, our smart devices, our watches don't even allow us to sleep. They will alert you instantly when something has happened, and when you look at it, and there are news alerts, and it's always something else is happening. It's something else is bad. They're not going to do the ceasefire. They just bombed this person. This just happened. Measles is everywhere. I mean, every disease. There's an earthquake here. So if we're not careful, that kind of stuff over time can start messing with you. You don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to have Social Security when you get old. You don't know if you're going to have health insurance. You got insurance, but you don't know if they're going to cover it. It's this barrage of things, and this constant volley of negativity has a way of messing with the mind. Now, it's interesting because we, as saints of God, we're supposed to be people who are hopeful. We are supposed to be people who look unto the Lord, look unto the hills from which cometh our help. We're supposed to be people who are not without hope. We are supposed to be people who have joy everlasting. We're supposed to be people. But if you look around the seats and you look around the church and you hear the chatter, most of the chatter does not reflect the character of the kingdom. And so we've got to talk about this idea of finding hope in these hopeless situations. When things are everywhere telling us negative things, how do we learn how to handle that? How do we manage that? The phenomenon is called learned helplessness. I want to talk to you about it just for a second. Years ago, they did an experiment with dogs. And they had dogs locked in cages, these metal wire cages. If you can imagine, the cage was just big enough for the dog to stand up and turn around and then sit down. So it had enough room for the dog to get up, maybe take a step or two forward, maybe take a step or two back, turn around, go in a circle and sit down. It just had that space. They put an electric wire attached to the cage. And they sent a shock through the wire And that shot through the wire that was attached to the metal cage impacted, hurt, inflicted some level of discomfort on the dog. It wasn't to the point where it would physically kill them or harm them in terms of internally or whatever else, but it was very uncomfortable. And so the first time they did it to the dogs would, jump and yelp, and then you would watch the dog like, okay, I got to figure out a way to get out of this. And they would scratch and look and, and claw at the door and because they figured out that's the opening, so let me see if I can figure out a way to get out of it. But they had it so secure that the dog couldn't get out. So then they waited a minute and they shocked the dog again. So this time the dog began to fight and yelp and bark and look around and like, hey, get me out of here. They scratched a little bit more. They barked a little bit more aggressive, just trying to figure out, pacing back and forth, not being comfortable anymore, not feeling safe, and saying, okay, I got to find a way to get out of here. And after a minute or two, they shocked it again. By about the fifth time they shocked the dog stopped clawing as much, stopped scraping as much, stopped barking as loud. By the seventh and eighth time they shocked the dog just kind of whimpered, but due to the discomfort, but didn't really give energy about how to escape. As they kept the shocks coming, they noticed a phenomenon. Eventually, the dog sat down. And just waited for the next jolt. And after a while, the dog didn't even move because of the jolts. They just went through this thing called learned helplessness, where you figure out that there is nothing else I can do, so I might as well not even try to fight. And I can't get out. I am at a point where I'm not in control of my life. And since I'm not in control, then what I really need, I just need to figure out some kind of way, just learn how to manage my life like it is. Am I talking to anybody? So learn helplessness is this idea where we got repeated negative experiences and where life keeps coming at you and it's hitting 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 you. And after a while you say, I realize that my life is totally out of control. And I can no longer, there's no action that I can do that's going to impact my outcome. So I just learn now how to just brace myself to deal with what is. Am I talking to anybody? I understand I ain't talking to everybody, but I know I'm talking to somebody. Because and you might not even think I'm talking to you, but I want to say, if you come to church with no hope, if you listen to a sermon and the sermon is just information, but you don't really think in your mind that it's not going to actually breed anything, it's not going to be real change, and you learn to come to service not just as an act of obedience. You'll find it, how do you know it, Dr. Moody? Because you come to service a little later. You praise a little bit more passively. After a while, you just up. And you just kind of rock back and forth and kind of casually throw a hand up every now and then. If you like the part, you may come in and sing that little part. But most of the time, your praise is generally really you're observing someone. And your sermon is where you're putting up with someone. And now you have become, you have learned not to expect anything from God. You've gone through a phase called learned helplessness. Am I making sense to anybody? You know, and it's a very dangerous place because learned helplessness, at some point, it actually puts you in a point where you become what I call hopeless. Where you really expect the negative. You don't expect, the old folks used to say, oh, things ain't gonna always be this way. But now you've changed your mantra to I'm just trying to deal with what is. It is what it is. Some of y'all told me life be lifing. Life be lifing. It is what it is. I'm just trying to make it. I'm trying to learn how to deal with it. All of those phrases have learned helplessness in them. Because you really have a very negative outlook on life. Some argue, I know somebody just argued in their mind. I don't have a negative outlook, Dr. Moody. I'm just realistic. See, I got it in your mind, didn't I? Aha. I'm not negative. I'm just real. So because you with your real self, you're going through what's called cognitive distortion, which means that you just have pessimistic outlooks about the world, about yourself, about the future, and you're like, it's just what it does. So I'm not here for the hype, Dr. Moody. I'm just trying to figure out how to deal with the mess.
Come on, sir. Come on now.
So you have a negative outlook, a cognitive distortion, a reduced motivation. Your prayer life starts to wane. Your praise life goes away. You're no longer walking in faith. You really don't believe God for anything. You don't look forward to God doing anything. You stop praying because you don't want to be disappointed. And so you just learn how to live a life of getting through the day. It's from sleep to sleep. When I wake up, my goal is to get back to sleep as soon as possible. How do I manage drinking myself, smoking myself, or resting or working myself to the point where I'm tired enough where I can fall back to sleep, and then I'll just let time pass. And if I can do that enough, that's my way of managing. Am I talking to somebody today? And so what happens is this. When you go through this section, when you go through these steps of this nature of hopelessness, you don't realize that really you're sliding into a spiritual and even an emotional depression. You're sliding into a zone where you just start feeling like where literally there is no positive energy about you. And you'll notice it once again. You can notice it by your dress. You can notice it by your eating habits. Because now things you used to care about, you're not even thinking about that no more. Now you're just eating whatever. I just want something to make me feel good. I want some ice cream right now. It don't matter. gonna go get me some fried chicken right now because that's what I want. I know what the doctor said, but it don't matter what the doctor said. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this tonight. I'm gonna eat this pie right now. I know it's 11 o'clock at night, but doggone it, this is my only source of joy. And since I'm gonna be happy about one thing, I'm gonna sit right here in front of this TV right now and listen, and drink my wine, eat my pie, and eat my ice cream, eat my fried chicken. Am I talking to anybody in the house? And it's like, if I got to struggle, let it be that struggle. I ain't living that bad. I could be doing a bunch of bad things. My struggle is in a bowl and a spoon. That's all. That's my struggle. Our lepers in 2 Kings had reason to deal with learned helplessness. In the text, the lepers are sitting outside of the city of Samaria. If you know anything about lepers during this time culturally, leprosy was a disease that was highly contagious. So if you were ever found with any signs of leprosy on your body, culturally, one of the things that they would do in order to stop the spread, they would immediately put you out of the city. And you will see in several places, if you go to Israel, it's very interesting because even if you go to Kauai in Hawaii, the Green Island, off one of the last islands on the islands of Hawaii, if you stand on the beach and you look across the bay, there is an island that's out there, and that was an old lepers colony. Because leprosy was so contagious that no matter where you were in the world, if you had leprosy, the goal was to get you away from the community. Because they didn't want anybody else to catch that. And they would put you in what's called a leper's colony, some place outside the city, outside the community, that would allow the community to be safe, and you just gonna die a slow death around people who got the same disease you got. But it's better for us all that you don't be with us. Are making sense? And so in the text, we have 4 lepers. And these 4 lepers, diseased, dying men, have been excommunicated. They're away from their families, they're away from their friends, they're away from anybody that they know, and now they're sitting there in this space that is set aside for those who are dealing with physical ailments. See, you don't understand. Sometimes physical ailments, sickness, disease, are really sources not just of human suffering, but of sociological alienation. And nobody knows what it's like for you to suffer from chronic back pain unless you got it. And all the people who suffer from chronic back pain understand each other's plight. If you ain't never dealt with it, you don't even know. I don't know why they don't do the joy of the Lord is their strength. I don't understand why they don't just put on the spirit of the spirit of joy for the spirit of heaviness and just clap their hands, turn around 3 times and do everything. I don't understand why they don't have they can't overcome. They just need to order their conduct right. And you be like, listen, if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and I'm gonna give you chronic back pain. The people who deal, I don't make sense. The people who deal with whatever disease, insert the disease here. But we understand each other. I understand what it's like to have your thing. And so although disease is personal, it also has a part where it isolates. It puts you apart from the community. So these men are out, away from the community, and they're sitting outside the city. And if you can imagine, you don't get to see your family anymore. And if you see them, it's only through the wall. Hey, Leroy. You doing all right? Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm sitting over here with Tommy. Well, we still believe in God for you. All right. Y'all have a good day. See you tomorrow. All right, we'll talk to you later. Visiting hours. So they're sitting on the outside of the city. And it's bad. Every day, the leprosy grows worse. Leprosy would affect the skin cells and the soft tissues. It would affect the nerves. And sometimes you wouldn't even know you had it until you learned that you had no more sensitivity in a part of your body. There's a story of a priest who preached and taught and ministered as his mission to the lepers in a leprous colony for years. And he preached and he lived and he ministered to their needs. And one day he was preaching and he was teaching in front of them, and he didn't realize that the candle that was on the altar was burning his hand. And then he understood that now I have leprosy. So if you can imagine that you lose the feeling in your hand, and then there's the constant injury and infections just increase and multiply. So the lepers are outside dealing with their own issue. But here's the problem. The problem is this, that the city had its own issues. Because in the city of Samaria, where they were walled in, they were actually under siege by a nation, the Syrians. The Syrians had gone to attack the city, and the city closed its gate and closed its doors, and the Syrians were not able to penetrate the gate. But what they did was the army, the warfare tactic of putting somebody under siege meant that you would make sure that no food went in and no water went in. You would oftentimes cut off their water supplies. They would dam up their water supplies and drain their wells so that they have no source of water inside the city. They would make sure that no food came in and out. So what happened was, inside the city, although you were safe, you would go through a systematic, slow starvation. Now, I don't know if none of us have ever gone through starvation before, but some of us have felt it because you fasted for 2 days. Some of us, I was joking with somebody, I said, some of us have a severe anti-hunger methodology of non-fasting. I say we fast against hunger. So we make sure we always eating. So now, if you can imagine now, this city now is going through starvation where they're now eating donkeys. They're now eating anything, horse heads and everything else. And so there is no more choice meats. There is no more choice food. Now we're dealing with whatever barley and whatever wheat that we can scrape together to make up a cake, and we're breaking up the cake and everything else. And that cake got to last us several days and everything else. And we are now we are distributing pieces of the cake. You have this piece today, and we're trying to spread it out. This Samaria was now in this huge situation now because everybody in the city is starving. So, and their enemies are on the outside. So if they open up the gates, the enemies come in. So you can't get out. You can't run past the enemy because they're going to kill you. You're starving on the inside. So now we got a waiting game. So if you can imagine, the lepers are on the outside, dying slowly. Back in the city, they're starving. They're thirsty. Mothers are trying to think about, how do I give my kids this last meal? They're looking at now, they've killed all their livestock. And so there's no more sources of food anywhere in the city. And so now we got a problem now because we're starving on the inside, right? Now notice. So over here is bad. Outside of here is bad. On the other side of us is the Syrian army. They coming to kill us. So we got bad, and bad. This is the dilemma that many people find themselves into today. Where we got bad, and bad. And I've got to decide which bad to deal with.
Thank you for worshiping with us today. If you like this message, you can find the rest at cmllcstore.com. We invite you to join us again for our extraordinary worship services every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, where Dr. Moody teaches how to understand the Bible, and you can get all your biblical questions answered. We look forward to connecting with you. We ask that you subscribe to The Rock ATX on YouTube and follow The Rock ATX on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to all The Rock is doing. You can also get connected on our website at therockatx.org. Again, thank you for worshiping with us, and be blessed.